What up, YouTube? This is Steven Talbert. Welcome to a special TalbyReacts. Today is Star Wars Day. Star Wars Day! Today was a very special day. I wanted to just kind of give you my reaction after me seeing Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens, as you can see on my hat. My really nice new hat. So I got to see Force Awakens. I saw this 7 o'clock showing. Had a great time. Feel sorry for the people that were waiting in line like at 9 o'clock at night trying to see this film. There's going to be like lines till like midnight when this video is actually getting made. And so I thought overall it was a great film. Really liked the Star Wars film. I thought it was a great addition going off of Episode VI. It definitely did not go up to the it doesn't fulfill its it doesn't compete with 4, 5, and 6, but I feel like it's a great film. If you think about like where they're going to go next, I think it's where you thought it. I honestly think what it really reminds me of. I was thinking about it on my way back to the house. I was thinking about like it reminds me of like J.J. Abrams if he was a little kid writing like a love letter to George Lucas, and like this is what I would do a Star Wars film about. It reminds me of like like fan fiction, like someone writing fan fiction and now making a Star Wars movie into that. Like honestly, that's how it really was. It reminded me of like the books, like for all the purpose that Star Wars got rid of like the extended universe. I think like this movie is what it really fulfills like that notion. Like I feel like it's like reading like a book, like reading like these what if books that came after Episode VI, which is fine, which is what I want to see, and that's how I thought I would get this movie. Overall, I think the biggest question really that just really comes to my mind is just how much nostalgia plays into it. Like it feels like every single like moment in that movie is like trying to hit back into something previous. Like them fighting the Millennium Falcon, like even the chessboards, just meeting Han Solo, even kind of in the middle, the way by the way, I will get into spoilers. I'm going to get into perfectly big spoilers. Even the way that Han Solo dies reminds me of the first film. Like, here they're blowing up the reactor core, trying to set up something. If you remember right from like the first film, like Ben Kenobi is trying to blow up the Death Star. Or they're trying to not the Death Star, the ship they're on, and so he like sets charges, and then like in the first film, you see Master apprentice slays master or something like that, and that's pretty much what you see in this film. And I think there's a lot of callbacks to those movies. I think those callbacks do a really well job. But what's kind of really interesting is like, even though you get a lot of these old type memories, there's a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of new worlds. Like if you think about it, there's like 0 new old Star Wars worlds actually in this movie. Maybe a section, I think Yavin 4 or the Rebel base, that may be Yavin 4, but I'm not sure about that. They didn't really talk about what world that is, but like they're used totally new worlds that are very familiar to you. I think that's like kind of the classic. What J.J. Abrams does really well is like they'll use really new stuff but it's very old and it's very familiar. Like for instance, like Jakku is this desert planet. It's very reminiscent to Tatooine. Like the town that Jakku has is very reminiscent to Mos Eisley, with like the trading and the almost Jawa like creatures and stuff like that. But unlike Tatooine, you see like it's seen its share of history. It's seen battles and stuff like that. One of the coolest like oh shit type of moments is like when you see like the place that our main character is based out of is like an old Imperial Walker. I'm like, that's so cool. Um, and so that's awesome. I love how J.J. Abrams is doing that. And I think that needs to be applauded. And I hope they carry this feeling of doing, like, using actual shot, like actual areas, taking shots from that, and putting it into the Star Wars film, because I like, them using like places like Iceland and Abu Dhabi and places like that, and it actually makes it feel more real. Especially like if you look at like Jakku, like them running through like the desert, like that's an actual real life type desert, and so that feels more alive to you. And that's and also what I really liked is one of the really random things that I love that he pays homage to is the fact that he just, like, there's like little small creatures. Like one of the coolest little small moments that I liked is like they're like going through they're driving through like the desert, and you see like little small creatures that pop up, and that's what I really liked about actually like the George Lucas films originally, was like it had that. And I think what's cool about this film is you definitely feel like emotional. You feel drawn between some of the characters, like some of the really interesting characters. I think the biggest, I was kind of thinking about why is this film important? Like, at the end of the day, we're going to have this other, the seventh film. We're going to have an eighth film, then we're going to have a ninth film. What really needs to happen in this film? And I think what they really want to do is establish these new characters, and I think that's what we got. And so, like, we got these really interesting characters, like the Finn character, where he was an ex-stormtrooper. Now he's a stormtrooper who realized that he's doing wrong, and he feels like, I need to quit that, and he rescues Arnold. Randomly rescues this Donary Poe guy, the ace starfighter, who's pretty much like the Wedge Antilles of the movie, technically, the Wedge Antilles type character. And then they have Rin, which is pretty much, I believe it's Luke Skywalker's daughter, if I'm not mistaken. Although that is one of the more interesting questions. There is some kind of real interesting questions about like the main characters in that film. Like, you really don't know about Finn's past, which I'd be interested to see if they're going to add that, try to play with that. Or I think they're definitely going to play with the Ren girl's past. But we'll see. But what I really think that was major about this is them establishing these characters and these bonds. The friendship between Finn and this Daenerys Poe guy. The friendship between Ren and Finn. You feel like, I think it's definitely, you could see the next couple of films will be about these two characters. And it will be interesting to see if they instantly meet up in the second film, or will they be kind of like the Lord of the Rings, like one goes this really random, this other path, and the other one goes this other path. And it'll be very interesting to see what they do with those characters. But I think that's one of the main things they want to do, is establish that. And I think they, at the end of the day, like even the bad reviews I was reading, like they basically say like that's the 100% what they did was establish these characters. And that's what you really have to take out of this film, like they did that right. And so because of that, I think that's they got their main objective done. I think despite being kind of being very nostalgic, using those type of things, I think this movie, like, randomly is probably one of the best sci-fi films that I've seen in a long, long time. And that's not to say anything good, bad. But overall, I think this film does really good. It does. It's definitely going to be a little hokey, but the original Star Wars was very hokey. And that's what you got to remind yourself, is watch 4, 5, and 6, and remind you of yourself how hokey it was, how like they almost used novelties to the core, like the chess pieces. That was a rule, just to show off gravity powers and stuff like that. And so like I really do think like it really meshes really well, and I think J.J. Abrams for what he's done, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with 8th and 9th, and what they're going to do with this Rogue One movie. And I think it's going to be real interesting. And one of the most interesting statements that I heard right before the movies was like this guy talking about how they're marvelizing these movies, and they're trying to make, they're going to make a ton of these movies, and no one's going to care about it. I extremely disagree with you, and this is my final, really closing statement about this. Was like when I was walking out of the theater, I was just amazed about the amount of people. Like I've been into a lot of like openings of movies and stuff like that. Like the entire theaters were like packed with people. And so, like, and that really tells me about like the mood of this. Like, if they even get 50% of those people, which I believe they will, this will win people's hearts. I think will be just as big, if not bigger, than Marvel. And I think kind of the opinion is like if they're going to Marvel it, people are not going to care. I disagree. And I hope you guys really love this film. Tell me what your thoughts about it, because I like to know. Because I definitely agree this is a good film. I don't think it's like a master type class film, but I really do like it. What are your thoughts about it? If you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to hear me give you more reactions to these more great films. And thank you for watching this video, and bye.